Hey, what's up guys? Working on this little Yamaha bear tracker. Got it from a customer who said they just put on a brand new Chinese carburetor, and when he turns the fuel on, turn that on, it overflows. Watch it coming out here in a second. There she goes. I'm going to shut it back off. And when I pulled the airbox lid off, there's liquid in there. And it's gas, so that's not good. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to start by taking the carb off. Take this back boot off. I don't think the airbox has to come out, but I'm not sure. And this front hose clamp. Pull the fuel lines off. Fuel line. There we go. I'll just tuck this up here. I think I'm going to pull the airbox off after all. There's two 10mm bolts up top for the airbox. And these tabs, you got to pull them inward, it looks like. I don't know, I've never worked on one of these things, but I'm just acting like I know what I'm talking about. Pull that up. And there's another snorkel. I'll have to just see how I could get this out. It's full of gas, so I'll have to suck some gas out. Got the airbox out, spilled gas everywhere. So that's awesome. Now I'm getting ready to pull this carb off. Apparently I didn't loosen that clamp enough. There she'd be. Now I just gotta get the throttle cable off, and we'll take a look at it at the bench. Got the carb off. What I like to do is put a piece of rubber hose on, and I will hold the carb upside down and blow in it, which it's not going anywhere, which means the needle and seat are working. So, and if I put it right side up, it'll blow right through. That's how it's supposed to work. So I'm going to take off this bowl and see where the float level is at. Alright, it's the first time I took this bowl off. Ugh, got some nasties in there. So it looks like our float level is right about there. Which I guess I don't have a spec on one of these crappy carbs, but that seems about right. I could try to raise it up a little bit. So it has a metal tab. I'm going to try messing with that tab and getting it to close off the fuel supply sooner. So right now it's going about there. I want it to be a little sooner so then the float level doesn't get too high, or the fuel level. If it gets too high, it goes out that overflow, this tube here, and that's what we're having problems with. So I got it back together. I took that little metal tab on there on the float and bent it up. So my float height was roughly 6mm, and I raised it to 7, or lowered it, whatever you would consider that. So just 1mm difference. I'm going to slap this thing back on and see if it helps. Moment of truth. I got the fuel line back on. I'm going to turn the fuel on and see if it pours out. It probably will. Who knows? So far so good. Maybe. Alright, this thing is really gassy oil, but I will see if it'll fire up for just a second. Choke on. Throttle. run it. Well, that looks like it fixed it. So if you put on a Chinese carb, or any carb for that matter, and you have gas coming out of this hole here, which is the overflow, there should normally be a hose on there routed somewhere away. But if you have gas coming out of there, it means the fuel level's too high in the bowl. You have to adjust your float height. So adjust your float height to whatever the spec is. Who knows what it is on this. And you should be good to go. Just pay attention to your oil and make sure it's not super full and full of gas. Smell it, because you don't want to just be running this thing like this. You will burn it up. One last thing. It's always a good idea to keep the fuel on for a few minutes and just don't put the air box back on. Look at the mouth of the carb and make sure no gas is coming out of it or out of that drain hole like we showed you earlier. But this thing looks good. It's been like this for a few minutes, so I think I could put it back together.